call, or are you gonna do it?
Well, I've got it right here. I can do it, but since I can't see everybody, good evening, everybody, or good afternoon. I had to call in today because I'm traveling to Burlington for something tonight. So, Cheryl, if we can go ahead and get started, we'll start with a call of the roll. I'll try not to miss anybody. If I do, let me know. Mr. Cates? Miss Evans? Miss Edwards?
They're on mute, but they're
Miss
in.
Charlotte
here.
Evans.
Oh, okay.
Edwards.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I got Mr. Cates. Miss Gilligan, I heard a minute ago.
Yes, I'm here.
Michael Kinlows. And I heard Juanita Rogers a minute ago. George Summers.
I'm here.
Larry Thomas.
Here.
Tony Woodliff. John Walford. And the chair is present. Ms. Hart, it looks like we have a quorum, and so we will proceed with business.
Okay,
And I'd like to thank everybody for your attendance and participation in the with April 26th Planning Board meeting. And I hope everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes that were sent out in the mail. If so, does anyone have any action with regard to those minutes?
Move that they be approved.
There's a motion
Second.
to approve the minutes as they've been recorded and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Hart, I have one matter that is on my agenda, and that's the consideration of the approval for a PUD with regard to a 35.77 acre tract of land. There was a packet that was sent to me, and I presume to all the other board members. Ms. Hart, is there anyone here with regard to the applicant that would like to address the planning board?
yes, so we have the applicant on, and whichever one would like to present this to the board, we appreciate you doing so.
Okay, I guess that puts me up. Good evening. My name is Mike Stewart. I'm with Stewart and Proctor Engineering and Surveying. What we have here is an application for a planned unit development where we're showing a mixture of single family residential and some attached townhouse residential on a parcel of land located in the northeast part of town. I'm sure you guys are probably a lot more aware of it than I am. We have worked with the planning department and the engineering and the staff to develop this plan, and I think we have something that we feel pretty good about. I think we've addressed the needs and everything of the town and some of the infrastructure. And I would like to note that everything in here is curb and gutter, sidewalk. We have some facilities located with it. And I guess I would, in lieu of anything else, I'd be willing to answer any questions that you might have. I know it's been a trying season with COVID, and we haven't actually had but one face-to-face meeting with staff members, and that was probably a year ago. So we've been trying to piece a lot of this stuff together and try to address concerns as they've come up. And I guess that's about the only way we can do that. So if you have something that comes to mind when you take a look at it, I'll be glad to try to answer the best I can.
Mr. Chairman, I see a hand raised from Bishop Williams, but before we go to him, I did have some written comments from board member Larry Thomas, if you will allow me to read those at this time.
Yes, I did see those, and I saw there were replies. I didn't know if Mr. Thomas had any comments or responses to those, but if you would read those into the record as well as the responses.
I had no response. I was satisfied with what I was sent.
Pardon me, Larry?
I was satisfied with the responses. I have no further questions other than those 4 comments.
Okay, and I'll read the comments and response so it'll be part of the record. Number 1, does the existing dwelling have a historical significance? And does the remove note mean that the remove and relocate or remove it by demolition? The response is, looking through the registry, it doesn't appear to be historical structure. The developer offered in a previous meeting with the town of Oxford that the fire department could burn it as a training tool. That was the first question and response. Question number 2, in the notes beginning on sheet C-3, what is meant by the statement all state and local government approval should be submitted to the subdivision office before final plat approval, or who or what is in the subdivision office? And the response is that it's an umbrella phrase, meaning will obtain NCDOT, NCDWR approvals and supply them to your office before final plat approval, which that is required. Number 3, I don't think it's fair to include stormwater detention pond in the recreational area calculation. And that response in other communities, this is a normal for the stormwater pond to be an amenity and used for open space recreational area. And then the last question and response was, I think that a traffic impact study should be required as part of the submittal. And the response is, during the NCDOT cursory review, no TIA was requested. The roadway network was considered low impact, so no driveway roadway improvements were deemed necessary. And that was the questions from Mr. Thomas, and the applicant, John Teal, addressed all of those concerns. And that was all that I received. So I guess we'll go with the board members first, and then we'll open it up to any other attendees, Mr. Chair.
All right. Does any member of the planning board have questions or comments?
Yeah, this is George. Maybe I'm confused or don't understand drawings. That may be the case. I'm always confused. But it's showing a plan for 85 lots, and 36 townhomes.
Right.
Is the other 49 single family?
Home.
I didn't hear that answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of the question.
Is the other balance of 49 lots going to be for single family housing?
I think we're showing 85 single family homes.
Oh, the 36 is over and above the 85?
Yes, sir.
Or it's not part of the 85?
No, there are 85 single family townhomes, and then there'll be 36 townhouse, multifamily.
Okay. That's why I say I'm confused a lot of times. And the other question is the 3.95 acres of recreation space. That is primarily kiddie type recreation space?
It is a combination. I'm sorry, it is a combination. There'll be flat play area, obviously, gazebos, and then we show some area around the pond where benches. This is an existing pond, and our hope is to not impact it as far as from a fishing standpoint, that it will still be something that neighbors and older adults like myself can go down there and spend some time with a cork.
All right, the 7 acres for open space, will that be allowed for recreation, like games of Frisbee back and forth and what have you?
Yes, sir. We've got if you'll notice, basically in the center of the property to the to the west of the pond and behind the townhomes, we have a big flat area in there that would be open grassed area for those types of games and stuff. The other areas are typically wooded, and we don't anticipate going down in there to do any clearing or grading.
All right, I don't think I've got any more questions right now.
I have a question. I want to follow up because I actually had the same question as Mr. Summers. And the document says you have 85 lots, 36 townhomes. Are they mutually exclusive or are they inclusive? Meaning, are there 49 single-family homes to be developed in addition to 36 townhomes, or is there 85? How does that work? Or is there 85 lots for single-family homes independently?
There are 85 single-family lots.
And
then
36 townhomes.
Then there's 36 townhomes additional to that.
Okay, and their acreage consists of an additional number of lots. Is that right?
No, the total would be the 85 single-family lots and the 36 townhome lots. There's not any area set aside for, next phases. This is the entire site.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other member of the planning board with questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Hart, is there any members of the public with questions with regard to this request?
Yes, sir. The first hand I saw go up was Bishop Williams. Mr. Williams, Bishop Williams?
Unmute. He needs to unmute himself.
He's mute.
Can you unmute Bishop Williams? Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first I want to thank the City Planning Board for the correspondence sent to me with regard to this project outside of of Ivy Day and North Country Club Road. And let me just say, my name is Bishop Williams, and I've been a resident here in the Lexington Park subdivision going on 14 years now. And I just have a few questions, a couple of comments that I'd like to have asked. This has not anything to do with the infrastructure, other than one thing. I didn't hear anything about the impact of the school, West Oxford Elementary. I did not hear anything with regards to the impact of that. But first, my first statement is a few years ago, and some of you might recall, we had a developer that wanted to build low income and Section 8 housing on the north side of Ivy Day Road. And as most of you know, that at that time, the proposal was denied. And so my first question is this the same developer who previously was denied building privileges for that particular townhouse and subdivision on the other side? Or is this a new developer that desires to build here?
Mr. Chairman, can I answer that question?
Yes, because I don't know the answer to that question.
Yes, sir. So the apartment units, the developer of that moved his proposal to Industry Drive, and it's referred to as Jates Ridge. So that is a completely different developer and different development.
Okay, well, thank you. I wasn't aware of that, but thank you for that information. And something else, with regards to the units that's going to be built, the townhouses and so on, are these going to be middle income, low income, Section 8, or senior housing? How is that divided up?
I guess that's question is as good for me. The housing that I have seen that Mr. Fenimore has supplied is I would not classify as low income. I don't think that any of it's been designated to be active elder community or anything like that. It's basically market driven to go in there. Certainly, anybody that wants to be in there at this point in time can be. It hasn't been excluded to anyone.
Okay. And with regards to the findings in the report that was just submitted or just read, I didn't hear anything with regards to the impact of the elementary school. As you know, we have the pandemic, and that's a whole new scenario in itself. But however, we understand, President God, that the school prior to the pandemic had been overcrowded. And I was just wondering whether or not if there's been some concerns that have addressed the overcrowding of the school pre-pandemic and what it would be like post-pandemic, and whether or not if that has been significantly addressed.
I would tell you that this is the first that we've discussed it. So if there's a policy in place or an action item and stuff that we need to address, I would definitely anticipate there being children here in this development. As you can see, we're showing amenities that are in lots of ways age-based, but I haven't had any requests to look at the impact it would have on the local elementary school.
Okay, and that's going to require teachers too. They have a budget that they have to operate out of. That would mean requiring or hiring new staff on all levels at West Hartford. So I really think that is really something that needs to be addressed. And also, my final comment, again, thank you for letting me be part of this session. Are there any income requirements with regards to moving into this subdivision?
No, sir.
So if there's no income requirements, that means that it could perhaps take low income, it could take Section 8 and everything else. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's a free market driven development at this point in time. So if someone were to get subsidies and stuff that would make them eligible or have the ability to purchase homes in here, then they would certainly be eligible and have that ability to do so.
Okay. And last but not least, I believe someone touched on with regards to the traffic. I believe someone touched on the traffic situation, and I really think that needs to be sufficiently addressed because, you have school buses coming in, and then you'll have 85 lots there, 36 homes or 36 townhomes, 2 units. And I really think something has to be seriously considered and addressed to that. That's because I see great impact on that.
Yes, sir. We when we turn in a plan to NCDOT for our driveway permits, they have certain policies that they go by. Typically, we would say that this is roughly 121 possible homes and stuff. So an old rule of thumb is basically 10 trips per home. So you could figure this would add 1,200 trips to the surrounding roadway network. The fact that we have different points both to the north and south and to the east where properties can be exited, is a benefit to try to lessen that impact. But they also research the roadways that you're tying into, and there's basically, if you have 4,000 trips a day or less on a roadway, then it's considered a low impact. But certainly we haven't gotten our final approval because we haven't made full submission to DOT. So they will look at that again before they would give us the final. And if they determine that there's been an increase in traffic that would exceed that number, that they would probably require us to put some turn lanes in.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still very much at the preliminary stage of that. But that's why we said in their first cursory look, they did not see the impact requirement at this time.
Okay. And the last question, and I'm not going to take any more of your time. Has this project been approved and when shall it go up for approval or voting? And when will the property owners in this subdivision be able to meet and share with other input. I'm just one individual. I understand from Ms. Cheryl Hart's office, 27 letters went out, property owners here. And as you know, we have around 65 homeowners in this. So obviously that number means that quite a few of them did not get correspondence concerning this this meeting or this project. And that is a concern that needs to be addressed.
Mr. Chairman, can I address that?
Yes, Ms. Hart.
So the letters that went out were to all of the adjoining properties, and legally, in which I went over and beyond and notifying the residents here about putting it in the newspaper. I notified all of the adjoining property owners, but I was not required to notify everyone that's in the Meadowbrook subdivision or the Lexington Park subdivision or every resident on North Country Club Drive. That's why I have the homeowners associations and so on. But I did, in my opinion, go over and beyond of what was required by making sure it did get in the ledger and certainly sending it to all adjoining and adjacent property owners.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you again for allowing me to share in this particular meeting.
So,
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
yes, sir. So next we have Tina Cheek. And just for the record, I do have the hand raised from those that want to speak. So anyone who has not raised your hand and you do want to speak, please do so. So Tina, take it away.
Thanks, Cheryl. I was just curious, you had mentioned the age-based amenities. And maybe I missed something. I saw the volleyball court, which was just an open flat area. It looked like some benches around the pond that was there. Is there any type of playground structure or anything on this, in this plan?
You got me looking at a separate site.
Say that again? I'm sorry.
You caught me looking at a drawing that had several mixed areas. With grilling, gazebo, benches, the flat play area, the kiosk, the volleyball, open space areas. There has not been a play structure, so to speak, added to that. That is certainly something that we would look at. We have in recent years had more issues with putting play structures out in these areas from an insurance standpoint. But we're more than willing to take a look at that if the town would desire.
I would love to see you look into that a little more. And I feel like, I mean, as long as you have the fall surfacing, which I know it's tough to maintain if you're doing mulch, and the port in place is so expensive, but I just feel like with a unit or a subdivision this large, that it would, and like you said, there's going to be plenty of children in that area, a couple of swing bays and something that was even appropriate for, say, 25 to 35 children, I think might work really well on this property.
Yes, ma'am. We'll be glad to take a look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Next, we have Donna Etheridge that would like to make comments at this time.
Hi, my name is Donna Etheridge. I've lived in Meadowbrook for 28 years, so quite some time. Two things that I'd like to talk about. The first one is the water. We've had a lot of trouble on my end of Meadowbrook with water runoff, and I've had a lot of work done under my house because of water. I wonder what's been done in that, looking at that area to ensure that that water is not going to run from there down into this neighborhood.
Okay, tell me where you are again. I'm sorry.
So I'm on Meadowbrook, almost all the way on the end. I'm one house from the end.
Okay, what I could tell you is that for the most part, our desire and our design is to have our areas drain toward the streets. And it would be, the runoff would be captured in our stormwater devices in the street and taken over to the existing pond. So you should actually see less drainage coming from this site post-construction than you do previous.
So now how will you ensure that? Because this property is going to go up a hill behind my house. So
We pretty much grade flat. The new thing is a lot of folks want to be at the slab on grade. And so we can put the roadway network in and typically assure that the homes are placed on roughly 2 feet above the existing roadway so that they can, the downspouts and the driveways can swell toward the road and be captured there. And that's what we're showing on our preliminary grading.
I just want to make sure that's gonna, I don't know that much about this. I just want to make sure it doesn't come my way.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about, there are a few trees in the backyards, a few large trees that have been there for quite some time. Are they going to all be removed?
The showing a buffer area around the outside perimeter, but yes, unfortunately, when you grade these things so that you can, have them all growing, drainage wise to the street, you end up doing pretty much a clearing.
So then what's that going to do about noise? So this, I've had this field behind me for all these years, so it's very quiet over here. So I'm really worried about what kind of noise we're going to end up with.
Ma'am, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it won't be louder than having nothing behind you, but they, hopefully we've got single family lots that are abutted to the properties. The multifamily is in the interior of the property, away, as far as we can get it away. But yes, you're going to have families and hopefully they're good neighbors and stuff, but I can't tell you there won't be more noise than there is now.
So is there any consideration to put some kind of barriers back there for those of us?
We can have plantings and stuff, but I'm not going to tell you that if we put a hedgerow of Leland cypresses or some kind of hollies and stuff, there'll still be some noise that gets through.
I think that's all I have. I can say that I know I bought my house whenever there was no house on either side of me, and it's a very nice neighborhood. So I'm really very leery, very concerned about the traffic and the noise. And I know my road is the cul-de-sac and it looks like it's going to stay that way, but just wanted to voice my concerns about the noise.
Thank you, Ms. Etheridge, and we appreciate you joining in and sharing your thoughts on this. So next I have Joseph Norris.
I'm sorry, was that for me?
It's Joseph Norris, yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for taking some time. I'm actually very end of Meadowbrook, so I'm one house past Miss Etheridge. So I'm the same concern that she has. We have a water issue at the end of this street that is not surface water runoff. We have water that comes up out of the ground. I've been under Ms. Etheridge's house and my own house and in my own front yard, and I'm very, very concerned about water impact. And I'm not talking about the surface grade. I'm talking about what happens underground. And I would like and I've spoken with even some other neighbors. I would really like to have some assurance that whatever gets done, takes that into account, that someone actually comes out here and looks and lets us know for sure that we're not going to wind up getting, more water this direction, more, underground groundwater. My second point would be to echo Mr. Williams' comment about the traffic. I'm a bit worried, not even as much about the extra cars and being able to turn. I'm a little bit concerned about the condition of the road. I know Country Club is due to get repaved or reworked. But right now, 121 more houses is going to put a lot more traffic on that road. So I do have a little concern there. But my biggest concern now that I heard the last response is the trees behind my house. We do have a small row of trees that I would like to maintain. I would like them to stay. And if you look, my lot is lot 29 at the end of Meadowbrook. And you can see on the elevation that there is, there's an elevation right there. So from my house, it goes up pretty quick. And the stand of trees is right there along that little ridge. Some of them are on my property and some of them are on the adjacent lot back there. If those trees are removed and a house is put there, they're going to be looking straight down into my backyard. So that's concerning. I don't think hedges are going to work. And I'm not against the neighborhood and having neighbors, but that would really decrease the livability of my home to have a house at the top of that rise, basically looming right down onto the top of me. So those are my concerns, and I'm wondering, is there any flexibility in leaving a little bit of that for those of us right here on Meadowbrook and not clear cutting it all the way?
I can answer that if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
We can, what would be the back of lot 16 for us, 15 would be your backyard through there. I can certainly see that we should be able to get our required grade so that we should have some room in the back to not. Obviously, nobody's going to cut any trees that are on your property, but let me see, and I'll try to see if I can leave a 10 to 20 foot strip, in that area, since it is a corner lot or end of the property lot. It is deeper than some of the other lots, and I can probably leave that without impacting the ability to put a home site on there.
Yeah, that would be appreciated very much.
I'm marking that down right now, and I'm pretty sure we can do that.
Yeah, I know the corner of that lot. So if you look at the back of my lot and the back of the one you called 16, where the two of them meet one another at the boundary, at the outside edge, is a really huge old tree. And that's actually where the marker is under that big old tree. And it'd be nice to, I think that tree is on my lot, at least a big part of it is, but I don't think it all is. So, yeah, I don't want to see that go.
And buried in the corner like that, I'm pretty sure we would not be grading into it. We just, you round out corners and stuff. You don't grade the points. So I'm pretty sure that given the depth of lot 16 that we can save that spot in there.
Thank you.
Are you done, Joseph?
Yeah, I think other people have answered some of my other questions, so that's what I had. Thank you.
And if any of you have any additional questions after the meeting, feel free to forward those to me and I can get those to the developer. And so next I have Shannon. Shannon?
Yes, hi. So I am lot 31, right next to Donna, to the right of her. And so my concerns obviously is her and what Joseph was saying. So our back line that faces the field out here, we do have a line of trees. So I know what's on our property will stay on our property. How far back here is the next lot going to be? Like, how close is their backyard going to be to our backyard? Like, where's the house? Am I going to be able to look out and see their house? Like, is it right, like, close up to my property line?
Well, certainly their lot would touch your lot. As far as the placement of a house on the lot, they're typically set the lot, the house back 20 or 30 feet from the roadway. And that gives a maximum rear yard because let's face it, everybody wants their rear yard. But a lot of that will be just like, I'm looking at the homes on your lots and stuff. It looks like the houses are pretty much in the center of the lot with an equal distance between the front and the back. I can tell you that that typically in the newer subdivisions that they put the houses closer to the front street than they do to the back, just to limit the driveway and the impact on the impervious surface.
Okay. Well, my concern also is with the drainage. Our backyard, you can't even walk through. We should have rain boots on until probably June, the month of June. Other than that, you're sinking. So again, with the water and the drainage, ours just sucks, as well as next door, the house over to the other side of me as well. So I guess you guys are ensuring that we're not going to get any of their drainage this way. All right, so everybody else has answered my questions. I'm just concerned with the tree line and what we're going to have to do to have our privacy, whether we're going to have to put up a fence for that privacy. We've lived here about 12 years, so we enjoy our privacy. Well, that's all I have.
Thank you for your comments. So next we have the mayor. Mayor Jackie.
Thank you very much. And I apologize that my video isn't on, but I've been freezing. And so I've gone ahead and shut the video down. I too appreciate being allowed to listen and comment. And I think there's a lot that's exciting about this. I just also wanted to reiterate the concerns of the folks in Meadowbrook about the stormwater runoff, because I've had my share of calls and concerns about water issues in that development. And so anytime there's discussion about increasing impervious surface, so it does make you wonder and worry a little bit about how the near neighbors in Meadowbrook would be affected. So my comment only there would be just what you've already heard, to absolutely do your utmost to make sure you've considered every worst possible scenario with respect to stormwater impacts. because it just seems that with changing climates, we're getting more and more water in the area, not less and less. And so we don't want anybody, any neighbors later ruining the day. We want everybody to celebrate a great development. And my other question was actually for Ms. Hart with respect to the questions about trees and so on. Do our ordinances require any kind of buffer between a new development and those that an existing development that's backing up to it?
I think what they have proposed meets our requirements. At least it did when it was submitted, and I don't think that anything has been changed.
So can you possibly, because I don't have everything that everybody else has had, refresh my memory on the buffer requirement between this development and the adjoining neighbors?
I'm not so sure if our rules address buffering between the two subdivisions versus the entire subdivision. I don't have that in front of me.
I don't think we do, Cheryl. I don't remember any.
So the buffering is like from the street, but not from side or back owners.
And you know, just to throw this out there, as we've done for other subdivision, I know we discussed this with the Meadows on the subdivision adjoining the Roland Wood. I mean, it's nothing to prohibit anyone from planting their own trees.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Thank you.
Next, are you finished, Mayor Jackie?
Yes, I certainly am. Thank you so much.
Okay, the only other hand that was up is that of Michael Kinlow, board member.
Thank you very much. I had a couple of questions. I want to back up just for 1 minute. When this new subdivision is created, we'll have a homeowners association that requires them the people who live there to pay dues?
Yes, sir, it will.
Okay, because in my experience, if you ever live in a place where there are homeowner dues, then you don't have Section 8 housing, which I think was a question the bishop was asking. So that would probably exclude them unless you're going to sell houses to people who can rent them to people who would pay Section 8 and it would subsidize at an incremental cost. But that's just something to think about as it relates to your neighborhood. I see that we have great concern with regard to the drainage. And I see where your houses are located. For everyone who's spoken about where they live, I can see it right here on the map. And if they construct the roads accordingly so with a proper drainage, given the plans that I'm looking at, you should experience less water problem if the drainage from the roads is constructed adequately. Okay. Now, as far as the buffer is concerned, I heard Mike state earlier that he could leave between a 10 to 20 foot buffer between the back of their homes to the homes that will be in front of them, which will be facing the street. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And those homes are situated in more closely to the street, which would give them a buffer, not only of space and land, but also trees, if there are trees there that they can be just left there. And along, you know what I'm saying? Yes. So therefore, hopefully, if it's done, I think adequately and correctly, it might give them a serious amount of privacy as well as less drainage problem. But that's from what I'm seeing right now. But I'm not sure if it's being adequately communicated from the plans, but I haven't been out there personally. So those are just my comments, but I just want to make sure along with the mayor, everyone else, that the drainage, especially along this road in front of this strip, has the single family homes on the bottom side, has the best drainage possible, because we don't want to cause any incremental problems associated with the homes that are already there. And that's just my comment.
Okay, and thank you for that again. And we have the final comment coming from Commissioner Tovey.
Good evening. Thanks again for allowing me to join this meeting. I did have concerns about the drainage, but I'm 100% sure that we can overcome that problem with the stormwater. The only other comment I have to make is on the development itself, it said 3.95 acres of recreation space. That included the pond. I want to know about the safety aspect of that pond if there's going to be a lot of children around. Will there be a fence around it to stop the children from going in the pond? Or can that be addressed? Mike, can you answer that?
I can tell you that our plan is to reshape the existing pond, and what we do is we put what we call a bench right there at the water edge, so that it's roughly 10 feet wide, so that it's flat for 10 feet on the dry side or excuse me, 5 feet on the dry side and for 5 feet into the water edge, so that if someone to have a tripping hazard or a trip or something like that, they're less likely to go out further. We can address a fence. The only real issues we kind of have with a fence is that it can limit, the neighbor's ability to to enjoy the pond and fish and stuff. But if that is a concern, we can always put a fence and put a gate.
It was just a concern of mine. It's up to the planning board.
But the bench is the way that we've addressed that from a safety aspect, so that you don't just fall in over your head.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman
That's all,
Wick-
Cheryl.
Yes, Chairman
That's-
Wick. Yes, Chairman Wicker, are you on? Chairman Wicker.
Ms. Hart, may I say something?
Wait 1 second, I'm trying to get the chairman back on.
He was on his way to Burlington. He may run into cell coverage problem.
No, I think we're texting each other right now.
Excellent. It really was. The shrimp was good. David taught me how to do that.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Who else had an additional comment to make?
This is Stephen and Andrea Campbell.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I'm not on Zoom. I'm on a phone, so I wasn't able to raise my hand.
okay.
But I just want to say I appreciate all the comments I've heard from all our neighbors and all the concerns that they have. I do have two concerns that weren't addressed. One, my wife isn't going to like too much. But we do have wildlife in this area. We have a lot of snakes that like to come over here and have their babies and go back to the pond over there. And we also see a lot of deer and a whole lot of beautiful birds that just like to live in these trees around here. So I was wondering if there's any kind of impact that environmental impact for the wildlife that was being done for this area. Because I know deer are really losing their places to live around here. And that is one that they like to go and graze over there a lot. And my second question was about the townhomes. I know I can't tell the developer his job. I know he's trying to get the most value out of that lot as he can. But I don't understand the townhomes. There's only 36 of them. And my experience, I've lived a lot of places from Atlanta to Cleveland. And a lot of times townhomes come, and if they're not priced high, a lot of times people will live there for 5 years and then they'll leave and then they'll start renting them out. And when townhomes start getting rented out, you don't tend to get the type of people that really care about the neighborhood to rent them out. So I'm really concerned about the pricing of the townhomes, and I'm really concerned about them being rented out in the future. Maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, people may start renting them out, and that kind of worries me a little bit.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Okay, thank you for that. Michael, did you have any further comments?
I guess to address that is townhomes, in lots of places and stuff are not someone's final destination as a permanent residence and stuff, but given the amenities that we're going to have and the homeowners association, we expect it to be kept up and policed within. But the townhomes that we're present to you will certainly be in par with the single family homes that are out there as far as price and quality of construction. So I don't think you'll see this as a place where people will buy for investment in order to rent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And so now we do have our chairman back. He's unmuted, and we've heard all of the comments from the property owners and from the board members and attendees that's included in this meeting. And so now we're ready to move further, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. You can hear me now, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Having heard the comments and the questions that were addressed, does the board have any action it would like to take on this request?
Move that we approve the request.
Motion to approve the request. Is there a second?
I second it.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 We do roll by roll so we get everyone.
Say that again, Cheryl.
I'm sorry.
Can you do it by calling the individual's name so I can record it properly?
Yes.
Linda Edwards says aye.
Mr. Cates?
He's not on here, is he?
He was originally. Miss Evans?
Aye.
Ms. Gilligan?
I will say aye, but I wish they would do more houses and leave the townhouses off. That would be my suggestion. But
Mr. Kenlow?
You're muted.
I would say aye also, but my main conditions is with regard to the drainage and the buffering between the homes. So I think that they're solvable.
Thank you. Ms. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Summers?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Ms. Hart, was there any other board member that I missed?
No, I think you got them all. And for some reason,
The chair,
Go ahead.
Uh-huh. I was gonna say the chair votes aye, so the motion carries.
Okay, so for all those that are attending, if you have any other comments that you would like to forward to me, by all means do so, and we'll correspond and I'll get you the answers that you need. Our next step is to send this to the Board of Commissioners for them to review. It will be sent at the next meeting, and they will call for a public hearing to be held in June. So that's the next step, just calling for a public hearing in which we're asking that the public hearing be held at the June meeting. And that's all I have, Chairman Wicker.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. There's nothing else on the agenda. Does any other member of the planning board have anything for the planning board to consider today?
I would like to ask one question, Larry Thomas. Since the vaccine is getting out now, has there been any movement forward in opening up City Hall, and by that gesture allowing us to meet again in person?
It was brought up at the last board meeting, and we're not quite there yet, but as soon as I find out more, I will pass that information on so we could meet in person.
That would be great. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Excuse me, this is Linda Edwards. Even if some people want to meet in person and some don't, are we still going to do both?
I'll do all I can to accommodate you because you all are very important. Your health is important to us, and we're going to do all that we can to accommodate everyone.
Thank you, Shirley. I just didn't know if the technology was available. I guess I should have put that first. I'm sorry. I should have put that first. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
All right, Ms. Hart, hearing nothing further, then we will stand adjourned until the next planning board meeting.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Goodbye, everybody.
Everyone have a good evening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.